Hello. On behalf of the leadership class, we welcome you to the annual Remembrance Day Assembly. We would like to acknowledge and thank the First Peoples of the Hunkaminam language group on whose traditional and unceded territories we teach, learn, and live.
I think of my grandpa, who fought in the war, and he proudly wore his emblems and his medals at the ceremony at the Richmond City Hall, and yeah, I often remember and think of him.
The war on which we are entering may be a long one, demanding from us heavy and continuous sacrifice. It is essential that we realize from the beginning that our cause is worth the sacrifice.
To myself, what a wonderful world.
You know, you didn't make friends with someone after a while because you know they're here today and going tomorrow.
The fear of being bombed, which they had lived with every day for 4 years on end, was engraved in their brains. Others proved unable to overcome the psychological impact of war after living in these trenches full of mud, dirt, and dead bodies.
The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky.
When I came home in the afternoon, unfortunately, I had already became an orphan. There was a massacre. I had no family. And after that, we were transported to Auschwitz.
Babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Sail on, O ship of state. Sail on, O Union, strong and great. Humanity, with all its fears, with all the hopes of future years, is hanging breathless on thy fate.
I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Things like we went through are just things you don't forget. I mean, it's impossible.
The people who sacrificed their lives to save everyone.
When I think of Remembrance Day, I think about all the brave soldiers who lost their lives to fight for Canada.
Think of how people were battling for our lives to be safe.
we clear our minds of everything that we do in our day to think back of sacrifices that were made. It's not always easy for us to go back to the scenes that we see, to the sounds that we hear. I feel that moment is deeply reflective, and for me, I think it's been different every year.
We are lucky to be in the country we are. We have a lot of freedoms, and those freedoms came at a cost.
I feel very connected to Canada because my grandparents and my whole family actually immigrated from India to come to Canada to give me a better life, and has provided me such good things and great gifts.
I was not born here, but I've lived here for a few years now, and I feel like I've always lived here. It's just home.
So it is critical to remain resilient and hopeful and focused on doing what is right.
Grateful to be living in the country that our grandparents made possible for us to have, and it makes me happy that if it weren't for them, we wouldn't be living in such a great place. Today's news headlines still depict hardship and political unrest. The world is once again living through a pandemic, and our lives have been upended.
Canada is an amazingly multicultural country.
Also, being a Canadian is also like to be able to be open-minded to all culture, because I feel like that's what Canada is. Like, it's a very multicultural country.
Being different and having your own personalities, own beliefs, but still respecting everyone else and working together to just keep everything nice.
Canada means freedom, peace, like equality. Everybody has a fair chance at everything, and no one's just like looked away just because of the way they look.
Canada, to me, is my home.
I am proud to be Canadian.
Canada means community to me.
Canada means everything to me. It's where I've always lived. It's where I've always wanted to live.
Greetings, students, staff, and distinguished guests of McNair Secondary School. The ceremony you have just watched was very different from previous years. But we observe today's ceremony, as we do every year, to remember, to reflect, and to respond. We remember and honor those who have sacrificed their lives for our freedom by wearing poppies on our left chest. We reflect upon stories of strife, upheaval, and uncertainty. And more importantly than ever, we respond as we search for ways each of us can contribute to a more peaceful, hopeful, and caring world. Tomorrow marks 102 years ago, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, that the armistice to end World War I went into effect. This day is now known as Remembrance Day. It has been 106 years since the start of the Great War, yet we still see conflict and unrest all around the world. It was shortly after the end of that war that the pandemic of 1918 caused worldwide turmoil. As it was over 100 years ago, today's news headlines still depict hardship and political unrest. The world is once again living through a pandemic, and our lives have been upended. News of upheaval and devastation have a way of draining hope and promoting fear. As it was then, it is easy to get caught up in the anxiety of the day, but to do so would negate the sacrifices of those who have paved the way for us to live in hope and freedom. Those who fought for the privileges we now enjoy understood that even terrible moments can have positive impacts. The discomfort of the COVID-19 pandemic, the horrors of racial tensions and economic hardship have forced many to live a more sustainable life and brought us all together to fight injustice and encourage greater kindness all around the world. It is our responsibility to continue this effort and to make the world a better, more welcoming, and more caring community. Acts of sacrifice and generosity, when faced with suffering, provide us a sliver of light when we need it the most. The focus of today's ceremony has been to promote resilience and hope. We are in the midst of some very trying times, so it is critical to remain resilient and hopeful and focused on doing what is right. To quote former President Barack Obama, the best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope, and you will fill yourself with hope. We would like to thank Mr. Soriano, Ms. Zanikos, and Ms. Comad, as well as Ms. Blair and the leadership class, and Ms. Holden and the band class for their thoughts, ideas, and creativity in putting together today's ceremony. You did many things different from previous years, but have very successfully created a significant, powerful, and meaningful ceremony. Thank you. On Wednesday, November 11th at 11 a.m., please be sure to pay your respects and be thankful for all that you enjoy because of the sacrifices made by others. Be thoughtful as you look to face each day with kindness, resilience, and hope, lest we forget. Now, as we do at all ceremonies that pay tribute to our soldiers and our nation, I would ask that we all rise and come together to sing our national anthem, O Canada. Thank you for your attention and cooperation. At McNair, we strive to live up to our privileges and responsibilities, and we commend you for being quality citizens who represent yourselves and our community extremely well. We want to thank you for your engagement and respect. You may now resume with your classroom activities.